Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barreto. Let's take a look at the headlines. Foreign Affairs and Communications Minister says Trinidad and Tobago has all the laws needed to deal with terrorism. Energy Minister outlines the significant role Petrotrin has had on this country's oil sector. Cabinet has approved 6 projects to develop local tourism. And in sport, the final round of matches in Group 5 of the Caribbean Football Union Club Championship plays off. Thank you for joining us to our top story. Foreign Affairs and Communications Minister Dr. the Honorable Sewage Ramachan says Trinidad and Tobago has all the laws needed to deal with terrorism. The minister made the declaration at the weekly post-cabinet news conference. Kimberly Ramkalawan has more.
This country is said to have the necessary legislation needed to protect its borders from all terrorism threats. Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Sewage Ramachan made the disclosure while addressing questions on Trinidad and Tobago being a transit point for terrorists. He noted that all security fronts were active and were working to ensure that Trinidad and Tobago was not vulnerable to the threat of terrorism.
Trinidad and Tobago passed the anti-terrorism bill, in which there are some severe penalties for people who engage in such activities, and only recently we passed the biological bill that deals with weapons of mass destruction and so on, so that our country is prepared in terms of legislation in order to deal with terrorism. And side by side with that, of course, is a very active Ministry of National Security, who, working together with the Immigration Department and Intelligence Services, do keep a tab on the movement of people in general. Dr.
Ramachan highlighted that this country is working alongside the U.S. Security Department in its fight against terrorism acts.
We also work in coordination with the security services in the United States to look at persons called persons of interest, so that we are well aware and sensitive to these matters. And as you know, it's not just Trinidad and Tobago, it's a number of countries across the world that are subject to these kinds of elements.
The minister says the legislation will look to put to use all intelligence in securing the nation.
It will always be a concern of any government when matters speak about terrorism or the possibility for terrorists and so on, and therefore we have to be very sensitive and ensure that our intelligence is at work in order to secure the information that will allow us to have security interventions to deal with such matters. And I can assure you that the Ministry of National Security and the Minister of National Security is well poised to do all of those.
Recently, government passed anti-terrorism and bacteriological weapons legislation that would aid in this country's combat against terrorism. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Energy Minister Senator the Honorable Kevin Ramnarine has revealed that Petrotrin's license for Trinma will be renewed by government. He was speaking at the Chamber of Industry and Commerce, where he outlined the significant role Petrotrin has had on this country's oil sector. Verna Barth tells us more.
With regard to Trinma, I wish to announce that the Ministry of Energy will be renewing Petrotrin's license for Trinma. So, gentlemen, right? It is our view at the Ministry that the company has demonstrated that it has a well thought out strategy to increase oil production in Trinma from where it is today at around 21,000 barrels of oil per day to above 35,000 barrels of oil per day. And in my opinion, looking at the numbers, there is even further potential for more upside with regard to Trinma. The ministry has consulted with the company. We have seen their plans, and we've also consulted with the union on this matter. So go forth and bring in the oil.
The announcement by Energy Minister Senator Kevin Ramnarine that Petrotrin's license for Trinma will be renewed by government. Minister Ramnarine is also highlighting that increasing natural oil production in this country remains a top priority for government. He adds that government identifies Petrotrin as the main player in turning around oil production in this country.
Petrotrin is central to increasing oil production. Petrotrin isn't perfect. In fact, no company is. And it does come with its challenges. The company is, however, emerging from many challenges that beset it for the last decade. It's bringing to close this year. We expect very soon, in the month of July, it's bringing to close its gas optimization project. And it's beginning to, of course, refocus itself on the upstream.
Minister Ramnarayan says, however, lack of investment and drilling has contributed to the current decline in oil production. This, he says, does not in any way suggest that the country's oil reserves are low.
Many of us here today know that oil production has been in steady decline since 2006, not for a lack of oil, but for a lack of investment and a lack of drilling. Trinidad and Tobago, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to run out of oil anytime soon. And as a former Saudi Minister of Energy once said, the Stone Age didn't end for a lack of stones. The oil age will not end for a lack of oil.
Minister Ramnarayan is revealing that this year government has commissioned an audit of the country's oil reserves. He adds that there were large quantities of oil in this country, particularly in the south, even before the recent huge findings. The minister says government's strategy is to maximize production from certain oil fields.
Putting aside our new discoveries which were recently made and are of course welcome, there is simply a lot of oil left in the ground in South Trinidad. And in the last 10 months, speaking to some of the most experienced oilmen, they literally say it's a crying shame, the amount of oil that we have left in the ground that we are not going after. So what then is the plan? In the short term, the focus would be on the maximization of production from mature fields and or from nearshore fields, such as in the acreages held by Petrotrin with regard to Trinma, Bayfield in the East Galeota block, Repsol, BHE Billiton, all on the East Coast, but of course Trinma being in the Gulf of Paria. The results from Bayfield have thus far been, of course, very encouraging for all of us. The company has advised that they intend to reach 5,000 barrels of oil per day by the end of the year, which will be a big leap from where they are right now, about 1,500 barrels of oil per day.
On that note, Minister Ramnarayan is also outlining future plans by Petrotrin as the company continues to expand its drilling projects.
In the last year, with a refocused mandate, Petrotrin has engaged in a $700 million TT drilling program to drill 21 wells in its Trinma acreage. This represents the first major investment by Petrotrin in Trinma in several years. Arising out of that drilling program, the company has confirmed new oil reserves in an area surrounding what is known as Cluster 6. This is our famous Jubilee discovery of recent weeks. The company has also put in place plans to commence a long-awaited reactivation of the Southwest Soldado field. This project commences in the fourth quarter of 2012.
Veena Bharat, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
You will see how we have been retasked with a newly equipped CSI division and data systems that not only put crime-fighting logistics at our fingertips, but those of CSI units throughout the world. And you will see how our police service has been reborn with a new sense of pride, a new sense of duty, and a new sense of community service that demonstrates that protect and serve means we are really here to protect and serve you, and to do it with pride. Each of us has chosen to serve, to do public service, to be here for you in some of life's most terrifying and saddest moments, to listen, to help, to be there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our hearts and minds will never close.
Never leave items like MP3 players, portable DVD players, laptops and briefcases on view inside your vehicle. It is an open invitation for a thief. Don't leave them on show. If you cannot take them with you, place them in the trunk of your car. Remember, crime prevention is everyone's business. A message from the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service.
Welcome back. With a plan to increase local nursing staff, Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan has announced several steps that would lead to the streamlining of the nursing profession. He says the Accreditation Council will now be given additional responsibility of certifying local and foreign nurses working in the sector. Kimberly Ramkalawan has the story.
Legislation that will allow the entry of foreign nurses into the local health system will soon be passed. Cabinet has agreed to amend the current bill that would facilitate international nurses as government looks to fill the shortage of nurses currently affecting the public health sector. Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan made the announcement during the weekly post-cabinet media briefing, where he explained what the legislative changes meant.
This came about as a result of the need to assess the training programs for nurses. At present, the Nursing Council developed the training programs. Training programs, as a result of this regulation, this amendment, would be under the purview of the Ministry of Science and Tertiary Education in preparation for the development of the nursing BSc degree as well as the RN degree. This will streamline the process in such a manner that the Nursing Council will be brought into the same vein as that of the medical board, the pharmacy board, the dental council, etc.
Minister Khan noted that under this legislation, accreditation for these foreign and local nurses will be provided.
There have been a lot of nurses from the foreign developed countries applying for nursing and nursing positions and registration in Trinidad and Tobago. There has been a whole host of complaints as a result of this registration process based on accreditation. By utilizing the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago, that will be putting those complaints to rest, as we will have a list, as such the Medical Board Act, of these accredited institutions.
He added that there was also a need to address training for younger nurses in the sector.
What we are hoping to do at the Ministry of Health is streamline the nursing profession, hopefully to produce a cadre of nursing practitioners which will be able to assist the shortage of medical personnel in the institutions, address the shortage of nurses and develop our own cadre of nurses in Trinidad and Tobago, and allow foreign nurses who have been specialized could enter at the level of this level of specialty, as it pertains also in a similar vein to the Medical Board Act.
Minister Khan says while these steps are expected to see results in some years from now, he described the move as one in the right direction. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Assurances that the Brian Lara Cancer Treatment Center is safe for cancer patients in need of treatment. The issue shot to life last year when over 200 persons were exposed to overradiation at the center. However, Health Minister Dr. The Honorable Fuad Khan is giving the thumbs up to the center, and he says the machines have been recalibrated and are ready for use once again.
Cancer patients in Trinidad and Tobago are once again being assured that a Brian Lara Cancer Treatment Center is safe for use. Health Minister Dr. Fuad Khan gave the green light during the weekly post-cabinet media briefing when he said all machines have been given the go-ahead for the use in the treatment of patients.
The problem has been addressed and the calibration has been done, and it's under various regulations by the Ministry of Health, and regulations have been drafted in the hands of the Attorney General. I want to assure the population at this time as we speak, all the machines are safe, and there is no, as I say, possibility of any occurrence at this time.
The ministry is also said to be working with the International Atomic Energy Agency to develop an incident evaluation process.
What I am doing with the IAEA on this approach is to find an incident evaluation process of how the incident occurred and why it occurred and who basically might have been responsible, if anyone is culpable. What the IAEA did in the last investigation, we took it from the position of the patients that have been affected, and to assess those patients that were affected in a manner that the terms of references that the IAEA asked us for.
Minister Khan also announced that apart from the evaluation, a partnership between the International Atomic Energy Agency and this country is currently being pursued.
I have spoken to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Communications, and a note will be coming to Cabinet to allow us to become members of the IAEA. So when we do become members of the IAEA, we'll be beneficiaries of a lot of programs and free service from the IAEA. At this time, once I ask for the incident evaluation, it's something we have to pay for, but the population has called for it, and this is a government that listens.
Kimberly Ram-Calawan, News 4.
Wayne Cunningham has a sport report right after the break.
I'm Natasha, and like most Trinbagonians, I love the beach. The beach can be fun, but we have to be tsunami smart and know the warning signs. You're at the beach and you feel the earth shake. Run. You see the water moving an unusual distance out from the shore. Run. You hear a strange roar from the sea. Run. If you experience any of these warning signs, run to higher ground. Be tsunami smart and know the natural warning signs. They could save your life.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Management, United States Agency for International Development, Caribbean Disaster and Emergency Management Agency, UWI Seismic Research Center, and the European Union.
The final round of matches in Group 5 of the Caribbean Football Union Club Championship played off at the Manny Ramjohn Stadium in Marabella. Going into the round, TT Pro League champs W Connection had already qualified, so they literally took their foot off the gas, much to the dismay of the Haitians. Wayne Cunningham explains.
Haitian outfit Victory Sportif were in search of a healthy win in order to have any chance of qualifying for the final round of the Caribbean Football Union Club Championship. They were up against Intermorgan Tapo of Suriname on the final night of competition in Group 5. They got off to a perfect start when Vice Captain Ricardo Charles flicked in this one in the first minute. 2 minutes later, it was 2-0. Star player Philippe Junior Toussaint latching on to the pass and finishing well. In the 32nd minute, it was 3-0, courtesy Bonnie Pair, and it looked like smooth sailing for Victory SC.
And that's goal number 3.
Intermorgan Tapo would come storming back though. Ricardo Messia Jan with a double before half-time to make the score 3-2 at the break. On the resumption, things got back to normal for the team from Haiti. Nicodème Bourget in spectacular fashion in the 51st. 5 minutes later, Ricardo Charles with his second. Then Bonnie Pair registers his double. Charles rounded out the scoring with his third and fourth items to make it 8-2 in favor of Victory SC. They did their part, and it was up to W Connection to help them by at least drawing with Antigua Barracudas.
And that's goal number 8.
Barracudas, on the other hand, needed a win to advance, but in the 21st minute, they shot themselves in the foot. Former Joe Public defender George Dublin, their captain, scoring the own goal to make it 1-0 W. That would not deter the Antiguans though. They bounced back to equalize in the 38th minute. Matthew Aldred lobbing Aquila Sylvester in the connection goal to make it 1-1.
That's goal for Antigua Barracuda.
Barracudas then shocked the Pro League champs in the 42nd minute. Former Jablote striker Peter Baez putting his team ahead at the break.
And that's goal number 2 for Antigua Barracudas.
Try as they might in the second half, W Connection could not restore parity and went down 2-1 to Antigua Barracudas, a result which denied the Haitians a place in the final. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
More news after the break. Stay with us.
Meet the Kissoons. It's Saturday, and everyone has to do their part to clean the house. Everything was flowing perfectly until... Daddy, where are you going? No. Don't let this happen to you. Pay your bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it. Sustain it.
Welcome back. In an attempt to diversify the economy, Tourism Minister Dr. The Honorable Rupert Griffith says Cabinet has approved 6 projects that would seek to develop local tourism. He says emphasis will be placed on development of existing historical sites. Verna Barrett tells us more.
Several projects aimed at giving the local tourism industry a boost is expected to get a jump start. Tourism Minister Dr. Rupert Griffith made the announcement that government has outlined plans to develop key sectors in the industry. Speaking at the weekly post-cabinet media briefing, Dr. Griffith says it's a move towards diversifying the economy.
There are several projects, both international and local, that we are developing to take Trinidad and Tobago on the cutting edge of tourism, which I think all of you are aware is a very competitive field to be embarked in. All of you will also recall that Trinidad and Tobago is in its whole process of diversifying the economy, treated tourism as a main plank in that whole process of diversification.
He added that the Tourism Ministry is also embarking on the development of new visitor sites around the nation.
In a matter of days, that Knowledge Tunnel will be fully open to the public and for visitors, both local and abroad. The Alliance House and the Indo-Caribbean Museum Temple in the sea, the Indo-Caribbean Museum and the Temple in the Sea, those projects will be fully developed, and we'll be spending $4 million on that one.
Under the new plans, government will look at the development of an Amerindian village in Santa Rosa at the cost of $1.9 million as part of the ministry's Tourism Heritage Project.
Cabinet has agreed to spend $1.9 million on developing the Santa Rosa Carib community. We are seeking to establish an Amerindian village on 25 acres of land. Cabinet has already approved the allocation of that land space, and that's located on Blanchisez Road, Arima, for those of you familiar with that area. Work will commence on the development of that Amerindian village. We have been in consultation with the indigenous peoples of Arima, and they are in close partnership with us in the development of the village.
The minister also announced the improvement of the Las Cuevas and Vesini Beach facilities.
Some of the other projects that we approved today, the cabinet approved today, is the Las Cuevas Beach facility. We'll be spending $5 million on that. It's going to be fully developed with full lifeguard service, and we will bring it up to the minimum international levels required on our beaches. And that the beach will also be tested so that it can reach what we call blue flag status. That is, the quality of the water is safe for swimming and for bathing and that kind of thing.
Over 370 projects have so far been identified for development by the Heritage Committee, which falls under the purview of the Tourism Ministry. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.